A reading from the Prophet Ezekiel. Then the angel brought me back to the entrance of the temple. I noticed that the water was flowing from under the threshold of the temple toward the east, for the temple faced east. The water was flowing from under the right side of the temple, from the south of the altar. He led me by the way of the north gate and brought me around to the outside of the outer gate that faces the east. I noticed that the water was trickling out from the south side. When the angel went out toward the east with a measuring line in his hand, he measured 1,000 feet, and then he led me through the water, which was ankle deep. Again, he measured 1,000 feet and led me through the water, which was knee deep. Once more, he measured 1,000 feet and led me through the water, which was waist deep. Again, he measured 1,000 feet, and it was a river I could not cross, for the water had risen. It was deep enough to swim in, and the river could not be crossed. He said to me, "Son of man, have you seen this?" Then he led me back to the bank on the river. When I had returned, I noticed a vast number of trees on the bank of the river on both sides. He said to me, "These waters go out toward the eastern region and flow down into the Araba. And when they enter the Dead Sea, where the sea is stagnant, the waters become fresh. Every living creature which swarms where the river flows will live. There will be many fish, for those waters flow there. It will become fresh, and everything will live where the river flows. On both sides of the river's banks, every kind of tree will grow for food. Their leaves will not wither, nor the fruit fall, but they will bear fruit every month, because their water source flows from the sanctuary. Their fruit will be for food, and their leaves for healing."
It being the second Saturday after Second Advent Pentecost, we continue with our readings from the book of God's Revelation. In the final age of the earth, at the threshold of the consummation by fire, man as flesh, not made in the image of God, has need of gathering places where the light is quickened for the good of the soul. For the word has revealed that God shall indeed send a divine redeeming fire to enlighten souls and burn up that wickedness first loosed by Satan and the fallen angels of darkness, lest the heretical nations ruin the world and the races. It is good that humankind restore order on earth in justice, love, peace, wisdom, and understanding, thereby limiting the power of evil and of man. The temple of uncut stones is given for a blessing and for the guidance of the nations and their peoples. This revelation brought to mind the promise made years before by the voice of heaven, as recorded in the prophecy to the Christian churches. And the man remembered the words, "Light will triumph over darkness on earth if man wills it. For darkness does not rule over God or the world of light, wherein dwell his immortal angels and the redeemed of the earth. And by these means will the temple of God be established on earth in the end times. And let there be established a shrine in commemoration of this prophecy. And when gifts of land are bestowed upon the community, God shall favor it with special blessing. And you shall know it by the pillar of light from the sky wetting heaven with earth. And water shall flow out of an outcropping of rock, and God's living waters shall mingle therein. And a cross shall appear over the face of the sun as a sign from heaven that Christ has blessed this site. And you shall call this shrine God's waters. And members of the community may come and be blessed there. And all manner of marvelous cure shall transpire according to the will of God. And it shall be as a refuge for members of the Holy Family, seeking healing and rejoicing by the waters of the earth and sun, in which they shall bathe. And the man marveled at the mysteries of God that are fulfilled in time reckoning of a divine cycle not known to any mortal. And he walked the Temple Mount, marking the lesser mounts as he went. And he came upon a vastness of time-worn rocks and boulders, arranged as a garden hewn from the earth by water, wind, and sun. The stones in all shapes and sizes were chiseled, unchiseled, and unpolished. Some, struck by lightning, lay open to the sky, split apart like giant eggs. A large rock supported a juniper tree, its branches laden with ripened berries, blew under the sun that grew out of the solid stone, like a rod placed there by the hand of God. The impressions created by the light and shadows on the stones made them a living oracle, speaking stones telling of strange and wondrous things. And the man read the writing thereon as if it had been cut by Shamir in the language known to the prophets. He read the fate of nations and the future of many peoples. He saw faces that he recognized from the past appearing out of the rocks. And as he intently observed the stones, he watched their surfaces changing with the time of day. And the man did mark the area, calling it the Garden of Oracles, for the word that had ceased to speak with the former prophets would speak anew for a divine oracle of Urim and Thummim under God. Afterwards he returned to the height of the Temple Mount, and sitting on a rock beneath a juniper tree, he looked up at the noonday sun, high in the sky, and circled by a rainbow, and marked with the cross of enlightenment that God had set over its face as a sign of the new covenant made with the righteous of the earth.